All right, what's up, everybody? Back to do this again. I told you I would get to this women's match, so promise delivered upon. This is the women's finals from the AVP Austin that wrapped up last Sunday. It is the LSU girls, Taryn, Kloth, and Kristen Nuss against the Canadian Sarah Pavan and Melissa Humana-Paredes, the currently ranked #1 team in the world, according to FIVB rankings. I scrolled through like all 1,200 women's teams rankings and didn't see Kloth and Nuss on there. I feel like they played like a 1 or 2 star maybe last year, but they haven't really gotten into the international game yet, but expect them to make a splash as soon as they do. So let's get into it here. This is actually going to be my first time watching this match. So I don't have any background on it, but I will try to give my kind of real-time insights here. Canadians are going to be in the red bottoms, black tops. Sarah Pavan is the taller blocker. Melissa Humana-Paredes, as you see there, is going to be the defender. Kristen Nuss is the smaller of these two. Will be playing defense exclusively. Taryn Kloth will be blocking. All Oakley's on the court. Taryn and Kristen have matching encoders, which is a new style in black and gold, and EV zeros for the Canadians. So 4 for 4 there, and we are good to go. Paredes back to serve. They target the smaller Nuss, and a perfect high line. When we check the stats after this, it's pretty interesting. I mean, as you go into this match, you figure you have Sarah Pavan, who's something like 6'5", Taryn Kloth is like 6'3", 6'4", and significantly smaller defenders, which is where you would typically target serving, which both sides have done so far, starting on the smaller players. Nuss with a perfect high line. Humana-Paredes is a little too aggressive on her high line, hitting the ball out. So it's 2-0, and Nuss floats deep to Paredes. Sets a little bit off. Right into the platform hard cross. That set's drifting also, and just a nasty cut shot. 3 serving 0. This team was relevant as soon as they came on the scene last year. I think they had some crazy match against Alex in April that went like 40-38 in game 1. I think they dropped, but they also won their first tournament on the tour, I believe. So that set brings Paredes over to Pavan's side of the court. And it looked like we had a 2 on the block and defense there. But with that set coming all the way across the court, Kloth had to get over there. Nuss had to stay on the line. That was her assignment, and that left some court to get the kill there. Miss serve, 4-1. Trying to keep these things around 30 minutes, so I'll skip through. Luckily, I think this match is relatively quick. Great serve there using the wind. Top spin, not a ton of pace, not in an overly great spot, but the wind knocks it down. And if the defender is not ready to move forward for that, you can get them reaching, and you get an ace. 5-2. Another one with a little more power, flattened that one out. 6-1 on the start. This is a blowout already. Ugh. So she does switch to a float serve, downwind. It's a little more traditional. Good swing up the seam there. Let's see if they show a replay. I want to know if this beat Kloth to her left side or right side. No dice. All right, 2-6. Let's see if they settle in here a little bit. Back at Nuss. Gets her a little bit out of system with the pass. Oh, it just kind of freezes her and hits a jumbo there. So Paredes sets up in the middle of the court here. Look where Nuss is looking. Like, she already saw where the set's going to go. So she's just completely keeping her eyes off of that. It's all defense here. By this point, she probably has identified that the block is not going to be super hard cross here. And she sees the defender shallow. So she's going to just hit like a convincing good shot, probably to where the defense should be, catching her leaning, trying to go cover the high line. Looks up, jumbo. So at this point, it might be strategy out the window for the Canadians. They obviously wanted to start on Nuss to start the game, figuring they were going to get some shots. They've gotten shots from her this whole game, and they've been extremely effective. Late peel, not an overly aggressive peel either. Kloth kind of get to the middle of the court, not really deep. Nuss almost gets over to cover it. So let's see if they start going at Kloth here. Having a lefty jump float. Yeah, so let's switch it up and see what we can get. We get a perfect bump set and a cutty. Everything really under control here for this team. Deep float. Everything good here. Hard swing up the seam. I think that's just good offense. Set was a little bit outside, which forced the blocker to commit all the way to the pin. Left a lot of court to cover on a hard swing. At least forced her up the seam, which is a little less court than hitting the ball out to the corner. That handset pulled her off a little bit, which created that dig. And we see the first mistake. Sorry to rewind it on this, but in league play, that is shots. Still had a couple chances there. Got a dig in transition. Would have loved to have that cut shot back because I think she could have used about 3/4 of the court behind the blocker there. But alas, it's an error. So good stab there. Ooh, it's a little rude to show that part of the replay. 5 serving 8, serving into the wind. Gets that one to dive a little bit. Bump set's good, holds on the high cross. 9-5. So that kind of saves the switch for me. They had I think it was like an 8-3 lead. To switch up 8-6 would feel pretty bad. 9-5 is fine. So that kind of negates the error. Still a little bit tighter than maybe it could be, but 4-point spread after 2 switches is just fine. Good reach on that block. Good cover. That's Pavan's first attack of the game, if I'm keeping score correctly. Rolls a good high line. Lefty jump float. So they're back on Kloth here. A couple hand sets by Nuss that have drifted off a little bit. Really good dig to stay in this point. Ooh, great bump set. Good stab by Paredes. Oh, and hits it out. But people are in. Kloth reaches out with the right hand to touch it. I don't know if it was tentative or if she actually tried to go for it. Regardless, she couldn't get out of the way. 7-9. So that is a real point. So things tightening up. Canadians settling in. Good deep float there. Another hand set. That's a better one. Gets it right to the defense, though. 8-9. So strategy switch pretty early in the game to go off of the defender onto the blocker, and it's paying off. Nuss, I think, just sees the court much better, so you are going to get more shots. They're just going to be the right shots and better shots. Kloth is more of a power player, I would have to imagine, being her height. Sometimes that makes him a little less adept at hitting shots. Good high line there off the hands. Good run there to switch things up. Running behind the setter. 10-8. Now she gets the bang jump serve into this wind. Kind of wrists away there. Takes a little pace off of it, but it's to a good spot. Going to get a peel. Pulls hands, and that one is out of bounds. So they get one of those Real service points are right back. 11-8. Secures the lead going into the technical, at least. Throwing one Pavan's way just to see what happens, and it's another crisp high line. Everything under control there. 9-11, good decision by her. Good set by Paredes. Miss serve. I think this hits her in the face. Oof. All right, 12-9 to the LSU girls going into the technical timeout. I don't want to misquote their stat, but I'm pretty sure they didn't lose a match their senior year, which is I missed one. Nuss kind of running seam. I don't know if that was a true 4 because it looked like Kloth stayed blocking the line. Might have just been an overlap. Good swing to the open court. 10-12. That's what you needed coming out of the technical. Now you got to get a couple reels on the good side here. Back on Nuss. And it's another kill. It's a loopy high line. It's the right shot. And she hits it to the sideline. Good run by Paredes. Just couldn't get all the way there. Nuss hasn't swung at a ball yet, but she scored every time. Gotta love that if you're a short defender like me. Good pass, good set. I think she sneaks that down the line underneath the block. Don't mind that if you're Kloth and Nuss. Take away more court. Give her a sliver. If she hits it, that's good for her. And it was. 11-13. Back on Nuss. And tags the line. So first swing. Defense probably a little bit frozen, waiting for a shot, which is what they've seen the whole game. Let's see if this touches the block or if it just clips the line. Clips the outside of the line off the tape. Probably would have been a little more in if it didn't hit the tape, but regardless, it's a point. Great dig there, staying true on defense. Oh, running down that cut. Good peel. And a bit of a missed opportunity for Kloth and Nuss there, but a better play. Good read by Pavan. That could have been a design play. Just showing that cut shot and then going to get it, staying on the ground. It's a good play, 12-14. But again, that was fighting for a side out. Take on 2. Don't really love that. It's a good dig, though. Let's see if she bails her out. Does not. Hitting her into the net. Set was a little bit off. I think the take on 2 got him a little out of sorts there. Based on where the blocker was set up, the defender was always going to be right there. So that dig was right in her lap. 13-14. So after a bit of a blowout to start, this is tightened all the way up. Kind of looking for a little help to the ref there. I just think this set is good nowadays. It's quick. She's drifting to the ground. Maybe a little more right hand than left, but 15-13 nonetheless. Not much of an argument. Okay, up 2, switching to the good side. More volleyball. All right, let's see who we're going at. I think you go back to Paredes, but it could just be an aggressive serve anywhere. Nope, back to Paredes. Good call by me. 16-13. Looked like she tried to just cradle that and soften the serve to take some pace off of it. And it just got a little too high up into her platform. And then they call a timeout. So 16-13 to the timeout. That was a big point on the switch. The Oakleys are fire. Similar to the Catos that April Ross wears. and were in the Olympics, just with not as much of a nose piece. Check them out, Oakley.com. Just watch this rally again. Oh, coach is rocketing coders too. What a team effort. Love that. 3 aces already. She had that one that dipped, that last one. Oh, and she had that other hard one over to Paredes. So she's got Paredes twice and Pavan once. It's a good set. Oh, what a better block. Pavan looked like she was just reaching way out in front of her for that. Couldn't get the height on it. Maybe another half step to get all the way underneath that if you're going to hit a shot. 17-13. So this is comfortable again. On the good side. Have a good jump server that has 3 aces already. Got to feel pretty good. It's that high loopy one that's going to tag back line. Great run and dig on that 4 call. Ooh, Spatchy, gross shot. I think that was wind affected, but in a perfect defensive spot to get the dig. Another cross peel by Pavan. That's worked twice now. That's going to work every time. Great block to finish this rally. Sometimes you just got to stay alive. Pavan and Paredes weren't really out of system that whole point. They still managed to lose it. 18-13. Not a great toss. Ends up being a really good serve out of desperation more so than planning. Another block. But covered. It's an unbelievable cover. Kind of doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but that directly scores a point. Like that's almost a 2-point swing. Like you're losing that point until she makes that touch, and then you're in a great spot to win it, and they do. It's a great play. 14-18, they have to make a push, go for the short serve, get them out of system. It's a good set. That's going to get dug by any defender. That's going to get dug by a really good defender. And a swing deep in the court to score it. Just a gritty team. Not always scoring simple side outs on 3 contacts. But they're just never out of a point with this blocking and defense. And then an ability to put it away. It's a good set there. Pulls the roll shot over back towards the line. 15-19, good play. Sometimes you get those defenders where like you can just play the ball in the court because the defender isn't that terrifying if they get a dig and they're coming back to attack. But Nuss is obviously scary in transition. So when she gets that dig, you got to be on your heels because she can score in a lot of different ways. 20-15, the set's over. Take on 2. A little bit of a paintbrush, as we call it, going underneath the ball, putting some backspin on it. 16-20. I did see the scores of this match, so I want to say this tightens up a little bit more. But you have 4 chances to side out. Tape trickler is a great way to start. I think Kloth thought that was going to drift over. You call a timeout here, you wait 1 more. She almost went up to like block joust contest there. She actually ended up with an open net. If she gets her feet there, she can do whatever she wants to that ball. 17-20, good serve, dipping with the wind. Wow. That was a great pickup, but wind carries it over the net. Pavan deals with it. Now you call your timeout. Yeah. What? Maybe not. They're going to push through. 18-20. That one hits her right in the platform. It's a good touch on the dig. Pavan stayed down. So if she saw that sooner, she would have had a ton of cross, but Pavan's so tall, you almost can't, like, I don't know if you can discern if she's jumping to block or staying down like she did there. It's a good first game, 21-18. Let's see what my timestamp is on this, so I'm not breaking it out too much. Man, they really want me to see this movie. All right. Strategy for me, if I'm the Canadians, I would put every ball on Kloth here. Kloth, sorry. Honestly, keeping her in system might not be the worst thing in the world. Nuss's hands looked a little bit choppy a couple times. You might get a double. She also hand set her off, which created some really loopy shots that Paredes is going to run down. And that also could take away some of her vision if she's going to swing hard, could generate some blocks. But I think you got to settle in. You've proven that you're able to score some real points going that direction, where Nuss was a little bit more terminal when she was hitting. Pulling that line out of bounds there is not a great way to start. That ball would have been dug too, so it's the wrong shot and an error to boot. That's a good swing. Kloth is pulling cross. So hitting anything with pace that direction is going to be a tough ball for the person peeling, especially if you can get it there quickly and she hasn't fully set up to get her hands up to play that ball. 1-1, but it's still a good start for Kloth and Nuss. And they're back on Nuss. She has high line here too, and she sees it, but she also has that. And with Paredes playing where she is, she probably has that jumbo that she had earlier too. Just nasty. 2-1. Set drifting, gets a touch. Good ball. I like that play too. Just keep it in. Make Pavan make a touch. And you get a hitting error. It's a good rally there. I think she was swinging for outside of hands, just missed him. It's a good play. Also a good play. Let's see. Swinging for hands. Yeah. And the tape trickler. Let's see if we get a fake apology. It's generally what I do. Oh, sorry about that, but I'm here to score points. No apology given. 3-2. See, that's what I'm talking about on that serve. You get a pretty simple dig there. Kind of a tough ball to take as a lefty that's coming across her body. I don't know what the argument is there. They're trying to say there was a touch or it hit the line. But it's an opportunity. Really should be 4-2. Hit it to the correct part of the court. There's no defense there. Just tried to be a little bit too crisp. And that is probably a product of the defense being so good. Man, she's going to want that one back. Look where they're standing. You have probably 80% of the court. You can hit that ball in. Kloth and Nuss dodge a bullet. 3-3. A bit of an overlap there. The block was correct. Defender didn't get all the way to the line, playing for a shot that she could get to if it goes either direction. It's a good swing. 4-3. Anything with pace that beats the blocker is going to score there. Cross or line with the defender staying behind. That's a better set. Still not a very convincing high line, but that dig is crazy. And that'll score. It's so weird in a game that is very much about height and power And Nuss is, to me, by far the best player in the court right now. That doesn't hurt. Another ace. I think that's her 4th of the match. 5 serving 4. Let's see if they show this again. No dice. Let's hit it again. You struggled with that seam ball a couple times. I'd go back to it. And she does. It's just a touch long. 5-5. It's a good serve. Don't like that serve. Ooh, try to run some type of quick there. Ends up working. Maybe not ideal set. Probably would want a little bit more room, but you get kind of a prayer of a block trying to Kong it. Works out. 6-5. 10 kills, 2 errors. Check the hitting stats after the game. I mean, if you've met me for 10 minutes or ever seen me play volleyball, you know how big of a fan I am of this play. It's just too good. It just touched the block. If it touches the block, I don't think it did. If it touches the block, I feel like it's a little more obvious to make that take because it's probably a tough ball to get back to your hitter. Maybe it did touch. Regardless, we're here to score points. It's a great shot. 7-5. Out of system pass, but a great, wow, Jesus. Out of system there. It's a great set. It's a better dig. This is a good set. And just the court vision and execution, like that's so frustrating. Eight, 5. I'm guessing this is a timeout. That does not look fun to play defense against. So that timeout is regroup. We still have time to do something in this game / match, but we better do it quick because this is starting to get a little out of hand. Touch on the block. This one's got to go. Touch on the block. Scores. You don't get a full ability to transition there from Taryn at the net. And yes, I switched to Taryn because I think I'm screwing up her last name constantly. But Nuss just puts it in a perfect spot for her to do something with. Bit of a break to tool it off the block there, but she doesn't hit it with any power to where I think it could get stuff blocked for a point. So maybe at worst you recycle that and get a swing. Best case scenario, it scores a point like that. So 9-5 on the switch. And it feels pretty comfortable for the LSU girls. In system there. Oh, it's the same shot she hit on the first point of this game. Defender is just, there's no doubt that the defender is affecting that. Nuss has been digging a ton of balls. So you just feel like as an attacker, you have to be extra good. Another dig. Gets a swing at the defender. Another peel cross from Pavan. And that one scores. So you kind of saved it there. It very easily could have been 11-5. Nuss went with the power swing at the defense. Probably had a lot of court the other direction, but things happen fast. It's not a bad decision. Just a better play on the dig. 6-10. And that one's out. Not a good way to come back. Hitting float serves out of bounds. I think you just got to trust your setup. Try to get them out of system a little bit, but at worst, you still have to make them earn that point. Good back set. Like to see a replay of this. From here, it looked like it split the uprights. Like 0 for 3 on wanting to see replays and not getting them. Bad stats for me. Not doing themselves any favors by missing these serves. It's another float serve into the net. 12-7. So now it's how many points can you stockpile before the switch? 13-8 has got to be your kind of basement expectations. Love that swing. It's right at the defender, or peeling blocker, I should say, but it's got some pace, forces them to make a play above their platform with their hands up. It's a ball that's going to get dug sometimes, but if she does anything cross, Paredes is set up. So make Pavan make a play. 13-7. Everything in system here, and just roofed. What a complete team is what I'm seeing. You have a blocker that gets you aces and blocks. Offensively, she hasn't been outstanding, I would say. I think the stats will back me up on that. She's hit a couple loopy shots that have been picked up relatively easily. So to me, she would be the target in serve receive. But she makes up for it in blocks and service aces. I lied. I said their coach was wearing encoders. He's actually wearing the Katos. You can see there's a little more nose bridge lens area in those, but still matching black and gold. I respect it. 14-7. So this is a route. Good pass, good set, and a high line that scores. This team just puts a lot of pressure on being in system. That's a routine side out, but if you're not passing and setting like that, this team's going to block and dig all day, all tournament. Good pass, good set. There's the shot again, though. Definitely giving some opportunities. I don't know if she's just hesitant to swing, or if maybe they're so confident in their defense that they'd rather test Paredes in getting digs and transitioning versus just swinging either to score a point or potentially get blocked. But it's working out. 15-8. Another great serve up the seam. So here they're out of system, get the overset. Well, she swung at that one. 16-8 on that put away. Just perfect. Everything's good there. Pavan knows that if she throws that set to the middle of the court, it's a free ball in transition. So she tries to be too good. Wind might drift it over a little bit, and it's put away. So we're in system here. Still gets a touch. Nuss wants that one back, but it's a pretty good swing. Wild dig. And shot. Oh, we're going to watch this ad, but then I'll go back and watch that point again. So the past few times that we've keyed in on Taryn on the serve, we've gotten relatively simple digs. So we'll watch this full thing again. Maybe a touch tight on the set. It's an easy pickup. That one's not, but really good. Taryn gives her a ton of height on that. And then it's just a good shot over the peeling blocker. 17-9. This one is well in hand. In system here, good set. Gets her with the cut. Good shot. Nothing you can really do about that unless you sell out on your side of the court, give away the high line, really give away the jumbo and probably a seam swing as well, and commit to that cut shot, which that's giving away a lot to take away a little. It's just a good shot. That's a good cross roll there. A little better shot by Taryn. Bringing her to the middle of the court. Give her a lot of options. She hits that ball away from the defender, going towards the line. Defender's not going to be able to run that very often. 18-10, 7 kills, 3 blocks, 4 aces. That set is underneath the block. And inside, trying to get that over to her left hand. That not a very clean approach. Even if this ball gets over the net, sneaks over somehow, I think Nuss goes and digs it. So better prioritize staying in system against this team, because if you are not, they are scoring everything. 19-10. Not what you would expect to see in a final with a, I don't want to say an unproven team because it's a very good team, but unproven on the national level versus a team that has demonstrated best in the world class. That shot tipped in and hit the back line. 11-19. This is a blowout. And everything's good there until the finish. I guess the set probably isn't great, but it's a really good dig on the hard swing. One of the first balls we've seen Taryn be really aggressive with. But her height at the net and Nuss's prowess in the back forces you to be precise, generating a lot of errors. 2011 championship point. That was crisp. 12-20. It's a good play. I mean, they've made some good plays like that, but they make 1 to every 3 that they don't make. Bad formula there. 12-20. A little out of system. It's a good set. Good touch on the block. Oh, she wanted that. If they're not up by 8, maybe she makes a little different decision on that. But wanted to bounce one to finish it. 13-20. And just saws off a disgusting cut shot. Convincing win. 21-18 is obviously a much closer score, but watching through that whole thing, it wasn't really in question. Through the middle of that game, it tightened up a little bit, but then they got their spread back that they had early in the game. Women's champs, congratulations. That's their second AVP Tour win in not a ton of starts. As you can see from that match, they're going to be a bit of a problem for opponents the whole season. So again, let's take a quick look at stats. I wanted to start here just to show you guys where to find it. So if you go to scoring and we jump onto the women's side, they do this in chronological order. So the finals is at the bottom. So 18-13. So let's just look at set by set. Paredes getting more attacks and more digs. So it's not all serve receive there. She's generating some of those attack numbers from the number of digs that she's getting. 9 kills, 3 errors, 375. That's just okay. Pavan hits a little bit better. 10 attempts, 6 kills, 1 error, hitting 500, 3 digs. Those are peel digs. No blocks in set 1 with 1 ace. Kloth and Nuss have the same amount of attacks. Again, a lot of these are being generated by digs. They did start serving Kristen to begin the match. That wasn't working out great. As you can see, her hitting percentage is very good with 1 error, 7 kills. But then as we go to the right and go to these more kind of obscure stats, I mean, the dig stat is great, but you can see that's fairly comparable to Paredes. But Kloth got you 2 blocks. That's 2 points the other team's not generating at the net, and 3 aces. So although the hitting percentage is significantly lower, the lowest on the court, she's doing some of these other things that score points. I mean, their hitting percentage as a team in game 1 is lower than the Canadians, and they won pretty comfortably. So set 2 is a little bit different story. Pavan, 9 attacks, 3 errors, only 1 kill, hitting negative 222, offset by her partner's 222 on 18 attacks with 8 kills, 4 errors, 7 errors in a game is a big number. Did have 8 digs, which is a good number. As you see, Kristen had the same. Kloth didn't make any errors, but on her 10 attacks, she only got 3 kills, which means 7 of those got dug. So she hit 300, but we could see that might be the one weak point, or at least the one weak point in that game was some loopy shots that were easier to pick up than the convincing shots that Kristen was hitting all game. 11 attacks, 8 kills. She did make 2 errors, which hurts that percentage, but hurts it to a 545, which is still a huge number. 8 digs, and you got another 2 blocks and another ace in that game from Taryn. So total match stats, you see usage here is pretty similar, but they did switch serving strategies. So a lot of Kristen's attacks are generated from these digs. So it's not them targeting her in serve receive. It's her generating her own opportunities, which she dealt with very well. Hit it 419 hitting percentage for Kloth and Nuss against a 245. Dig stats are relatively in line. Block stats obviously out of line. They had 0 blocks for points. Pavan and Paredes, they did have 1 controlled block, which is another stat that they give you, meaning it was blocked and then they were able to play it again. So it's, a soft block that the defender gets, or a block touch that the blocker can then play and set their partner or take it back over. 2 aces to 4 aces. This match was never really close. I guess the Canadians went on a bit of a run in game 1 to tighten it up through the middle. Game 2 was a beatdown. Wildly impressive match. Nuss is my favorite player on the women's side, strictly because I'm a small blocker. I hit a lot of shots. Really fun to watch. The stabby dig, she's everywhere on the court. She's making people's lives very uneasy on the other side of the net. And I think they got through. Let me double check one other thing because I don't want to misspeak. I don't know if they lost a match in this tournament or not. I don't know if they came through the contenders. So let's see. They did. So they lost to Cannon and Sponsel in 2 in their second match. And then battled back through the contenders. Let me take a look at that real quick, which I'm sure is blowing me over on time if I said 30 minutes was my goal. So they dropped down here quick. They won a 3-setter, 2-setter, 2-setter, and then really hit their stride in the semis and finals. I want to see what the semifinal score was against Chang and Flint. Yeah, I mean, almost the same story as the finals. It's a tight game 1 and then a blowout set 2. Huge win. I mean, I guess the other thing I would probably go back and take a look at is the match that they lost. Well, let's do that real quick because I think what we're going to see. What's the smartest way to do this, people? All right, let's go back to the one that they lost. I think what we're going to see is a team that probably avoided Nuss as much as possible. So tight games, 19 and 17. Yo. So based on these stats, I don't know if they served a single ball Nuss's way. She has 20 attacks, but she has 20 digs. So if she controlled these digs and transitioned them, that's where 100% of her attacks in this match came from. And with this number being 37, I'm assuming she got all the serves. Nuss's hitting percentage is really low, a lot of errors to kills. But if they're all transition balls, those aren't clean opportunities all the time anyway. Sponsel with really good dig numbers, lower on the errors, kills. Yeah, let's break it down by set real quick, and then I'll let you go. I mean, she hit 600 game one, no aces. Doesn't surprise me that this was the tighter of the two games. This was 21-19. So where did they make up these points? Aces. Cannon and Sponsel with 4 aces. Even though they hit a lower percentage, that's the difference maker there. Dig stats fairly in line. Hitting percentages, as we just said, were lower for Cannon and Sponsel. But those 4 aces to 0 flipped that game. And then on the other side, nobody's hitting really great this game. Yeah, I mean, they just made Nuss's life hard in this match. I have to go back and watch it to really get the true story, but based on stats alone, any ball that Nuss got to attack, she had to earn. She had to pick up a dig to get to that point. That's the blueprint for me going into the next AVP tournament. If you're playing Kloth and Nuss, you got to make Taryn beat you in the side out game. She had a higher hitting percentage here than the other match. She had a ton more attempts. But I think really the key there is you let her hit a solid number and try to keep this number down. And this number down, this number's going to be okay just because she's going to get digs, but make those opportunities tough. Diving digs, forcing her to get up, make an approach from the back of the court. That's just going to make life a little bit harder. So wildly impressive win as this team cements themselves as a contender in all of the AVP events this year. The strategy probably becomes a little bit more clear, and they're going to get better too. So I would expect Taryn to be a more polished side-out player against these upper-level blockers as we get deeper into the AVP season. But this team is going to be tough. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Again, any comments, questions, other matches you want talked about? Love the feedback. So let me know. But thanks for tuning in. All the likes and feedback have been really positive so far. So I hope to keep doing it. See you.